She left him. After 2 years of marriage, she packed her bags in the middle of the night, and she left. No note. No explanation. No goodbye. Just gone. And Kang Do-hyun, the most feared crime boss on the East Coast, woke up to an empty bed and a closet cleared of her things. For the first time in his life, he felt fear. Not because of enemies. Not because of business. But because the only woman he had ever loved had walked away from him. And he didn't know why. But here's what Amara didn't understand when she disappeared into the night. Kang Do-hyun doesn't lose. He doesn't accept defeat. And he will burn down everything, his empire, his enemies, the entire world, to get his wife back. If you love dark romance, obsessive love, and men who will destroy everything for the woman they love, you're in the right place. This story is about to take you on a ride. Amara had been in America for 7 years when she met him. 7 years since she left Nairobi with nothing but a scholarship, a suitcase, and a dream so big it scared her. She had grown up in Kibera, one of the largest informal settlements in Kenya. Her mother had worked as a house help for wealthy families. Her father had died when she was 12, leaving behind nothing but debts and broken promises. But Amara? Amara had something that poverty couldn't touch. Fire. She had studied by candlelight when the electricity was cut. She had walked miles to school when there was no money for transport. She had fought for every single opportunity with a ferocity that left people stunned. And when she earned a full scholarship to Columbia University, she didn't cry. She simply nodded. Because she had always known she was destined for more. By 28, she had built herself into something formidable. A corporate lawyer at one of the most prestigious firms in New York. The first Kenyan woman to make senior associate in the firm's history. A woman who commanded respect in boardrooms full of men who had underestimated her from the moment she walked in. She was brilliant. She was fierce. She was untouchable. Or so she thought. She met Kang Do-hyun at a charity gala. She didn't know who he was at first. She just saw a man. Tall. Black hair that fell across his forehead. Eyes so dark they seemed to absorb light, intense and unreadable. A sharp jaw that could cut glass. Broad shoulders that spoke of discipline and power. He was beautiful in a way that felt almost threatening. And he was staring at her. Not casually. Not politely. Like a predator who had just spotted something he wanted. She should have looked away. She didn't. He approached her 20 minutes later. "You've been ignoring me," he said. His voice was deep. Controlled. His English was perfect, but there was something in his cadence, a precision that hinted at another language underneath. "I haven't been ignoring you. I don't know you." "You will." She raised an eyebrow. "That's confident." "It's not confidence." His eyes traveled over her face like he was memorizing every detail. "It's certainty." "And what exactly are you certain about?" He leaned closer. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, something dark and expensive and consuming. "That you're going to be mine." She laughed. She actually laughed in his face. "I don't belong to anyone." "Not yet." She learned his name later that night. Kang Do-hyun. Head of the Kang crime syndicate. One of the most powerful Korean organizations on the East Coast. A man who controlled import operations, tech fronts, and politicians with equal ease. His family had built their empire over 3 generations, starting in Seoul, expanding to Los Angeles, and now dominating New York. A man who had killed. A man who would kill again. A man she should have run from as fast as her legs could carry her. But when he called her the next day, she answered. When he asked her to dinner, she said yes. When he showed up at her apartment with flowers he'd clearly picked himself, thorns still attached, petals slightly crushed, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. The courtship was intense. Do-hyun didn't do things halfway. He pursued her with single-minded focus. Showed up at her office with lunch. Sent cars to pick her up from late meetings. Filled her apartment with books he thought she'd like, Kenyan authors, African philosophers, legal texts he'd researched specifically for her. He learned her. Her favorite foods. Her childhood memories. The way she missed the smell of rain on Nairobi soil. The way she still sent money home to her mother every single month without fail. He didn't try to change her. He didn't try to diminish her. He simply wanted her. All of her. Exactly as she was. Why me? She asked him once. They were on his rooftop, looking out at the Manhattan skyline. His arm was around her waist, possessive even then. Claiming her even before she agreed to be claimed. Because you're not afraid of me. Should I be? He turned to look at her. Those dark eyes held something she hadn't seen before. Vulnerability. Everyone is afraid of me. My enemies. My allies. Even my own family. He touched her face gently, so gently. But you look at me like I'm just a man. You are just a man. I'm a monster, Amara. I've done things that would make you sick. I know. And you're still here. She covered his hand with hers. I grew up in Kibra. I've seen monsters. Men who beat their wives. Men who sold their daughters. Men who killed for 100 shillings. She met his eyes. You're dangerous. But you're not evil. There's a difference. Something cracked in his expression. Like a wall crumbling. Like ice melting. Marry me, he said. It wasn't a question. It was a prayer. She said yes. They were married 3 months later in a small ceremony, just his closest lieutenants and her mother, who had flown in from Nairobi and cried through the entire thing. Amara wore white. Do-hyun wore black. And when they exchanged vows, something shifted in the universe. 2 broken people. 2 dangerous worlds. Colliding into something that felt like fate. The first year was everything she had never dared to dream. Do-hyun was devoted. Not just attentive, devoted. He came home every night, no matter what business demanded his attention. He held her when the nightmares of her childhood crept back. He learned to cook her mother's recipes badly, but with such determination that she couldn't help but laugh. He made her feel safe. And for a woman who had spent her entire life fighting for survival, that safety was more intoxicating than any drug. She fell deeper every day. Deeper into his world. Deeper into his arms. Deeper into a love that consumed everything it touched. But darkness has a way of finding you. Even when you think you've escaped it. The cracks started showing in the second year. Do-hyun became distant. Secretive. He disappeared for days at a time, returning with blood on his clothes and shadows in his eyes. He stopped talking to her about business. He stopped talking to her about anything. And when she asked questions, he shut down. It's for your protection, he said. I don't need protection. I need my husband. You don't understand what's happening. Then tell me. But he never did. He just built walls higher and higher until she couldn't see him anymore. Until she couldn't reach him. Until she felt more alone in her marriage than she had ever felt in her life. The breaking point came on their 2nd anniversary. She had planned a dinner. Cooked for hours, nyama choma, ugali, sukuma wiki. All the foods that reminded her of home. All the foods she wanted to share with him. He didn't come. She waited. And waited. And waited. At midnight, she threw the food away. At 2 a.m., she started packing. At 3 a.m., she was gone. She left no note. What was there to say? He had already left her. Emotionally. Spiritually. In every way that mattered. She was just making it official. She took only what she had brought into the marriage, her clothes, her books, her mother's Bible. She left behind the jewelry he had given her. The car. The credit cards. She wanted nothing from him. Nothing except her freedom. She disappeared into the night. Found an apartment in Brooklyn under a different name. A small place, nothing like the penthouse she had shared with Do-hyun. But it was hers. She went back to work the next day. Same firm. Same cases. Same life she had built before he ever walked into it. No one knew she had left her husband. No one knew she was dying inside. She just kept moving. Because that's what she had always done. Survive. Endure. Keep going. But here's the thing about Kang Do-hyun. He didn't survive losing her. He shattered. Do-hyun came home that night at 4 a.m. He had been dealing with a crisis, a shipment seized, men arrested, a rival family circling. The kind of business that consumed everything if you let it. He had let it. And when he walked into their bedroom, expecting to find her asleep, expecting to apologize in the morning, the closet was empty. Her drawers were cleared. Her side of the bathroom bare. He stood frozen for what felt like hours. Then he picked up the phone. Find her. His men searched everywhere. Her office, she hadn't resigned, but she had requested a leave of absence. Her friends, she hadn't told any of them where she was going. Her mother, the woman hung up the moment she heard his voice. Amara had vanished. And Do-hyun realized he didn't know his wife at all. He knew her favorite books, her childhood stories, the way she laughed when she was truly happy. But he didn't know where she would go. He didn't know what she would do. He had spent 2 years protecting her from his world, and he had protected her right out of his life. The weeks that followed were the darkest of his existence. He didn't eat, didn't sleep, barely functioned. His lieutenants watched him spiral with growing concern. Hyungnim, you need to focus. The Park family is making moves. I don't care about the Park family. They're threatening our shipping routes. Find my wife. He threw a glass against the wall. It shattered, just like everything else. I don't care about business. I don't care about territory. I don't care about anything except finding her. His second-in-command stepped forward carefully. Boss, maybe she doesn't want to be found. Do-hyun's eyes went cold. Deadly. I didn't ask what she wants. I asked you to find her. It took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of searching. 3 weeks of dead ends. 3 weeks of Do-hyun slowly losing his mind. And then a lead. One of his tech specialists had traced a utility payment to an apartment in Brooklyn. A small place, registered under a name that didn't exist. But the payment had been made from an account that traced back to her law firm's payroll. She was there. His Amara. 15 miles away. She might as well have been on the moon. He went alone. No guards. No weapons. Just himself. He stood outside her building for an hour before he finally went in. Climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. Stood in front of door 3B with his heart pounding like he was facing down a loaded gun. He knocked. Silence. He knocked again. Footsteps. And then, she opened the door. She looked beautiful. Tired, but beautiful. Her natural hair was out, a halo of coils that she usually straightened for work. Her eyes were guarded. Her posture was defensive. She looked like a woman prepared for war. Amara, how did you find me? I will always find you. That's not an answer. It's the only one that matters. She stared at him. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then she stepped back. You shouldn't be here. I'm not leaving. Do-hyun. You left me. His voice cracked. You left without a word. Without an explanation. You just vanished. I left you 100 words. Her voice was steel. Every time I asked you to talk to me. Every time I begged you to let me in. Every time I told you that I couldn't survive being shut out. I was protecting you. You were killing me. The words exploded from her. All the pain. All the loneliness. All the grief. I sat in that penthouse night after night, wondering if you were alive or dead. Wondering if you still loved me or if I was just another possession. Wondering if I had made the biggest mistake of my life. Tears streamed down her face. I gave you everything, Do-hyun. My heart. My trust. My entire life. And you gave me nothing but silence. He stepped toward her. She stepped back. Don't. Amara. I can't do this again. I won't do this again. Then tell me what you need. His voice broke. Tell me what to do. I'll do anything. I need you to leave. No. Do-hyun. I said no. He moved forward again. This time, she didn't retreat. I'm not leaving you. Not now. Not ever again. You don't get to make that choice. I know. His forehead pressed against hers. But I'm making it anyway. Because I can't breathe without you. I can't think without you. Every day since you left has been hell. Good. The word was vicious. Cold. And it stopped him dead. Good, she repeated. Now you know how I felt for a year. She made him leave that night. But she didn't disappear again. She let him know through small signals, through grudging allowances, that she was still there. Still willing to fight. If he was willing to change. The next day, flowers arrived at her door. Not expensive roses from a shop. Sunflowers. Slightly wilted. Clearly picked from someone's garden. The card read, I remember you said these reminded you of Kenya. I'm listening now. She threw them in the trash. But she smiled. Just a little. The day after that, food arrived. Nyama choma from a Kenyan restaurant she had mentioned missing. Ugali. Sukuma wiki. Everything she had made for their anniversary that he never came home to eat. The card read, I should have been there. I'm sorry. She ate alone. But she kept the card. Day 3, he showed up himself. Not inside her building. On the sidewalk across the street. Standing in the rain like an idiot, looking up at her window. She watched him for 20 minutes before going down. What are you doing? Waiting. For what? For you to let me explain. I don't want your explanations. Then just listen. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. She crossed her arms. Rain soaked through her clothes. She didn't move. 5 minutes. He told her everything. The crisis that had consumed him for the past year. A rival family making moves against his territory. Threats against his business. Threats against his life. And threats against her. They knew about you, he said. They knew you were my weakness. They were going to use you to get to me. So you pushed me away to protect me. I thought if I kept you separate, if I kept you out of my world, they couldn't touch you. But I was already in your world, Do-hyun. The moment I married you, I was in it. I know that now. His voice was ragged. I know I handled it wrong. I know I hurt you. But I was terrified. For the first time in my life, I had something to lose. And I didn't know how to protect you without losing you. You lost me anyway. I know. He reached for her hand. She let him take it. I'm not asking you to forgive me, he said. I'm asking you to let me earn your forgiveness. Let me prove that I can be the husband you deserve. How? However you want. Whatever you need. I'll do anything. She studied his face. The desperation. The sincerity. The love that had never faded, even when everything else crumbled. No more secrets, she said. No more secrets. No more shutting me out. Never again. If you ever make me feel invisible again, I won't. I'll leave, Do-hyun. And next time, you won't find me. I know. She pulled her hand back. I'm not coming home. Not yet. I understand. You have to earn this. Every single day. I will. She turned to go back inside. Then stopped. The sunflowers were a nice touch. He smiled. The first real smile in weeks. I remembered. Don't make me regret this. I won't. I promise. He kept his word. Every single day, he showed up. Not at her door, she wasn't ready for that. But in the margins of her life. The spaces she allowed him. He walked her to work. Waited outside her building like a bodyguard. Had lunch delivered to her office every day, always something that reminded her of home. He learned her again. Not the surface things he had memorized before, but the deep things. Her fears. Her dreams. The parts of herself she had hidden even from him. And this time, he didn't shut her out. When business got complicated, he told her. When enemies made threats, he explained. When he was scared, he admitted it. He let her see him. All of him. Even the monsters. The turning point came 2 months after she left. Do-hyun received word that the Park family was making their final move. A full assault on his operation. War in the streets. His first instinct was to hide it from her. His second instinct, the one he fought for, was to tell her. He showed up at her apartment with a file. Sat her down at the kitchen table. And explained everything. The threats. The danger. The very real possibility that people were going to die. I need to handle this, he said. And I need you to know what's happening. What do you need from me? He looked at her. What? You said you wanted to be in this with me. So, what do you need from me? How can I help? He hadn't expected that. He had expected fear. Anger. Maybe even relief that she was out of this life. Instead, she was asking how to fight. You're a lawyer, he said slowly. A brilliant one. And some of what's happening is legal. Business disputes. Contract violations. Things that could be handled in court instead of in blood. She leaned forward. Show me. They worked together through the night. She pored over documents. Found loopholes. identified legal pressure points that could cripple the park operation without a single shot being fired. It was brilliant work. And Do-hyun watched her with something like awe. This woman, this Kenyan girl from Kibera who had clawed her way to the top of New York's legal world, was now turning those same skills against his enemies. She wasn't afraid. She was formidable. This could work, she said finally. If you file these injunctions and simultaneously expose their money laundering through. I love you. She stopped. Looked at him. What? I love you. I've always loved you. But right now, watching you tear apart my enemies with paperwork, I have never loved you more. For a moment, she didn't respond. Then she smiled. That smile that had captured him from the very beginning. I love you too. Even when you're an idiot. I've been a massive idiot. Yes, you have. He reached for her hand. This time, she didn't pull away. Come home, Do-hyun. Not because I'm asking. Because you want to. She looked at their intertwined fingers. His scarred and rough. Hers elegant and strong. Different worlds. Different lives. But somehow, they fit. One condition. Anything. I'm not just your wife anymore. I'm your partner. In everything. The legal. The less legal. All of it. He stared at her. You want to be part of the family business? I want to be part of your life. The whole thing. Not just the parts you think are safe for me. It's dangerous. I know. I don't care. You could get hurt. So could you. Every single day. She squeezed his hand. I'd rather face danger with you than safety without you. He pulled her into his arms. Held her like she was the most precious thing in the universe. Because she was. Deal, he whispered. Partners. In everything. She came home. But not to the same marriage she had left. This time, things were different. Do-hyun included her in meetings. Sought her counsel on decisions. Treated her like what she was, the most brilliant mind he had access to. And Amara? She thrived. She became known in certain circles as the counselor, the woman who could find legal solutions to impossible problems. The woman who had the crime boss's ear and his heart. She was powerful. And she had earned every single bit of it. The park crisis ended 3 months later. Not in bloodshed, though there was some of that. But in boardrooms. Courtrooms. The legal stranglehold that Amara had designed. When it was over, Do-hyun's territory was larger than ever. And his marriage was stronger than it had ever been. Thank you, he told her the night the final documents were signed. For what? For not giving up on me. On us. She traced the lines of his face. The jaw she loved. The eyes that saw only her. You drove me crazy. I know. You broke my heart. I know that too. But you came back. You changed. Because losing you showed me who I really was. He held her gaze. Without you, I'm just a monster. With you, I'm a man. You were always a man, Do-hyun. You just forgot. Then thank you for reminding me. 2 years later, they welcomed a daughter. They named her Zawadi, Swahili for gift. She had her father's dark eyes and her mother's spirit. And from the moment she was born, Do-hyun was completely, hopelessly, irreversibly wrapped around her tiny finger. She's going to rule the world, he said, watching her sleep. She's going to rule you, that's for sure. I'm okay with that. Amara laughed. The most dangerous man on the East Coast, undone by a 6-pound baby. I love you, she said. I love you too. He put his arm around her. Both of you. More than anything. Even more than your empire? He didn't hesitate. I would burn it all down tomorrow if it meant keeping you safe. Both of you. You might have to one day. Then I will. He pulled her close. You're my empire now. The only one that matters. The years that followed weren't easy. There were still threats. Still enemies. Still nights when Do-hyun came home with blood on his hands and darkness in his eyes. But now Amara was there. Not waiting. Not wondering. Not shut out. There. Fighting beside him. Protecting their family. Building something that no one could tear down. She became a legend in her own right. The woman who had tamed the beast. The woman who had walked away from everything and been chased to the ends of the earth. The woman who had proven that love wasn't about possession. It was about partnership. On their 10th anniversary, they returned to Nairobi. Amara wanted to show Do-hyun where she came from. The streets she had walked. The schools she had attended. The life she had escaped. He followed her through Kibera with wide eyes. The resilience. The strength of the people. You came from here, he said quietly. Yes. And you became. You. Yes. He shook his head. I thought I was strong. I thought I knew what survival meant. He looked at her. I had no idea. We all survive in different ways. You didn't just survive. He took her hand. You conquered. Everything. Including me. She smiled. Don't forget it. Never. They built a school in Kibera. In her father's name. A place where girls like her, girls with fire and dreams and nowhere to put them, could learn. Could grow. Could become anything they wanted to be. Amara spoke at the opening ceremony. I left this place with nothing, she said. Nothing but determination and a refusal to accept the life that was expected of me. She looked at the young faces watching her. You have that same power. Every single one of you. The world will tell you that you're not enough. That you're too poor. Too female. Too African. Too everything. Her voice hardened. Prove them wrong. Fight for every opportunity. Claw your way forward. And never, never let anyone make you feel small. Do-hyun watched from the crowd. Tears streaming down his face. The most dangerous man on the East Coast, crying at his wife's speech. He didn't care who saw. That night, they stood on the roof of their hotel. Nairobi stretched out below them. Lights flickering. Life happening. Thank you, Amara said quietly. For what? For this. For everything. For not giving up when I left. I told you. I will always find you. I know. She leaned into him. That used to scare me. And now? Now it makes me feel safe. He wrapped his arms around her. I was so broken when you left. So lost. I didn't know who I was without you. And now? Now I know. He pressed his lips to her hair. I'm yours. Completely. Forever. Even when I drive you crazy? Especially when you drive me crazy. She laughed. That laugh that had captured him from the very beginning. I love you, Kang Do-hyun. I love you too, Amara Odiambo Kang. He tightened his hold. More than my own life. More than my empire. More than anything. Prove it. Every day. For the rest of our lives. And he did. They grew old together. Not quietly, nothing about them was ever quiet. But together. Through wars and peace. Through tragedy and triumph. Through the raising of children and grandchildren who inherited both their fire and their love. Sawadi grew up to become a prosecutor. She put criminals in prison, sometimes the same kind of criminals her father had once been. Do-hyun found this hilarious. She's more dangerous than I ever was, he said proudly. She learned from the best, Amara replied. Which one of us? Both. He smiled. That same smile that had captured her decades ago. There is no secret. Her eyes would grow distant. Just two people who refused to give up. On each other. On themselves. On the life they could build together. That sounds simple. It was the hardest thing I ever did. She would lean forward. And the most worth it. So here's the truth, beautiful people. Love is not easy. It's not always pretty. Sometimes it's messy. Painful. Broken. But if you find someone who will chase you across the world, who will tear down their own walls just to reach you, who will change everything just for a chance, don't run. Stand your ground. Let them earn you. Because love that is earned, love that is fought for, that's the love that lasts. Amara left her husband after 2 years of marriage. And he spent the rest of his life proving he deserved her. That is dark romance. That is true love. That is a story worth telling. Now, if this story touched your soul, if you felt every moment of their journey, I need you to do something for me. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe. Turn on all notifications so you never miss a story. And drop a comment telling me, would you have given him a second chance? Would you have let him earn your love? Would you have walked away forever? Tell me everything. Share this with someone who believes in love that fights, love that grows, love that refuses to die. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here until the very end. and I'll see you in the next one.